What is up, guys? It's your boy Tay with No Cap the podcast, and we had to, oh boy, we had to run it back a little bit, so had to bring it back, and we had to get our guests back in here. I believe it was last week we had a young lady on, but we had some technical difficulties and things were happening, and the podcast guys just did not want us to have her on here on that specific day. But today is very much different because we have her back tonight for this episode. So we're just going to bring her on in here and we're going to get this started. So, everybody, please help me welcome Erin.
Thank you for the welcome.
Welcome, welcome. So, just introduce yourself. Just let people know who you are.
My name is Erin DieHeart, and I am a content creator on TikTok. I like to make think pieces, theories, and skits.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's a little bit of what I do.
Okay, so TikTok. TikTok is a TikTok has grown over the years, I would say. Um, how has your experience been on TikTok since you began?
In the beginning, I wasn't even posting. I was just like a viewer, and my kid sibling bullied me into making content. So I probably would have like never started if she didn't encourage me to. My mom had a kid late, so my child sibling, she was like, you gotta get posting. You gotta get on there. Don't just be a watcher. So I think I started. I think it was either like 2020 or 2021. I can't quite remember, but I know I started, and as soon as I started, I got right onto the theories, and then that was getting me in trouble because TikTok did not like my theories. I was experiencing a lot of posts being taken out, even though it wasn't like bad theories. It was like theories about TikTok. Yeah, they did not like that. My videos would get muted or they pull them down, so I had to switch up what my theories were about. So I did a series on like Coraline, and then I got into some think pieces, and I went on to like make little videos or really whatever I want.
Okay, okay. So you said a theory about Coraline. I don't think I've ever seen that video. Do you care to explain a little bit about that series?
Yeah, I love Coraline. So I know there's a lot of theories about Coraline out there, but in my theory, like I think that um, as soon as Coraline went to the world and ate the food, like a game had begun, and she didn't realize it. I don't think she ever really left that other world, and it was more like the game was being played with her to keep up the illusion that she was playing a game. Meanwhile, while she's thinking she's playing the game, they're slowly eating away at like her life energy, and she just doesn't realize it.
Hmm.
And I think that for me, it makes the ending of the movie seem like everything seems so hunky dory, and like just opinions change and thought processes change on like how parent, like, Whitey's grandmother was feeling about the house and everything, and it never made sense to me. I'm like, this lady accepted too many things. And so from there, I'm just like, no, I don't think I don't think it the movie what occurs is what really happens. I think it's like up to the viewer's perspective. Well, it's not perspective, but I think it's up to the viewer, even though the choice of like what's going on. Neil Gaiman has a book, and he's the one that wrote the story. But like when you
Mhm.
watch the movie, things are different from the book. Like for example, in the book, the character YB, you don't really get to see him. So I feel like when you're watching the movie, you get kind of like play around with the theory of what actually happens because there are changes.
Okay. Okay. So I've heard of one theory from a
Hmm.
cartoon. I don't know if you've seen Ed, Ed and Eddie.
Yeah,
Yeah, so there
that's
was a
classic.
theory that I heard of, and like all the kids are in limbo or something like that.
And I've heard that theory. It's because you never see any adults. Like you hear
Yeah.
them, you might hear them say something about an adult, or maybe I think even Ed, the one that wears the green jacket, because they're all Ed basically. Like I think you've
Hmm.
heard him like yell towards his mom, but you've never seen a parent. But I don't. I like the theory, but I feel like in the beginning, Cartoon Network did that a lot to where they didn't really want parents seen. I feel like there was a lot of shows where you didn't see people's parents, and then there were some shows where you did. Like I think,
Yeah.
like in Cow and Chicken, you only got half their body, so you
Yeah.
didn't know what
I was
Cow and
about to
Chicken.
say that.
Yeah, so like some cartoons you didn't see parents in it, so I think you do. But I like the theory. I think it's a good one. Um, there are a lot of cartoon theories out there actually that are very interesting. Even with like, I think there's one about the Rugrats. I think there's, um, I know they have like for SpongeBob. I think it coordinates with. I think SpongeBob the character symbolized something like people have come up with some crazy theories where it's just very interesting.
Okay. Okay. So moving a little bit off the theories,
Hmm.
uh, your Oz series,
Hmm.
like you started talking about that a little bit, like before the whole technical issue, but can you explain more about what your Oz series is and like how do you guys come up with it?
So the War on Oz, which you can watch on the TikTok account, the official bookkeeper, because we moved all the videos to that to there. But how it started is it was more like an improv, and the characters would really go back and forth, so you would have something to play off of. And we kind of like there's a generalized topic in what you get to when we're doing our episodes, but it's improv along the way. So like we take real pieces from that story, like for example, the house falling on the Wicked Witch of the East, and we take things that's actually from the story, but we give more details about the situation and how it happened, and then we kind of improv on that. And also, like we've made like I guess love scenarios too, but it's all
Okay.
basically the premise of the show is that the Wicked Witch of the East did not actually die when the house fell on her. She just kind of used that as an opportunity to go into hiding, and while she was in hiding, Oz took over the entire land of Oz. And when she comes back, she finds that 75% of the land has just been taken over, and she's trying to get together with the other witches and the Tin Man to see how they can bring Oz down in an ongoing war.
That that definitely sounds like a lot. Um, so is the series still ongoing or did you
Right now,
guys put
it's
it on?
I think right now it's just a little bit of a hiatus since we moved the content. I think before each character, like you're putting the videos on your page, and you're either stitching somebody or you're tagging somebody. And I think like even especially when people are newer to TikTok, they don't know to like read below to see who's tagged. And so you would get people that would just see my videos, but they wouldn't see who I was talking to. So we had to kind of move it to one page. And I did drop the first episode of the War on Oz coming back, and we're doing this thing where it's like kind of like a teaser. I think we want to get some recorded ahead of time so that way we can be more consistent when we really start putting out the episodes. People don't have to wait so long.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I think we're
Okay.
going from improv to just a little bit more scripted. Still an improv scenario, but like the chain of events being planned out.
Okay. We have a comment here from Shira. She says hi to all of us.
Hey.
Well, to both of us. Um, so how did you feel when you started gaining followers on TikTok?
Um
Like, how did you go from zero to X amount of followers?
W- Well, I think I started out very humble beginnings, although I got probably lucky right away. Just like sharing the theories. I think I had only posted like a couple videos before, like I posted one that just took off, and then from there it'd be like every other video. And that I don't know if it's like my thoughts and the thinking process in which I was shooting the videos, which did well, but I didn't expect it. I think at one point in time, I had a video that was just like going crazy, and my phone got hot. And it wasn't like I had to get a whole new cell phone. I guess maybe I didn't have enough storage space, but I didn't know what's happening. But the I remember so many people were commenting, and I had my notifications on, and I was just getting so many. My phone started running hot, and I was like, "What is going on?" And I remember going to the video, and it was like over 100,000 views, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't expect for it to do that." So I ended up having to get another phone, and like I cut my notifications on, but not all the time. Because it was like a bad experience. But it I didn't expect it, so I think it started settling in once I made it to like 7,000, because this is before where you had to have like 1,000 followers to go live. So I think it started settling in at like 7,000. I'm like 7,000, okay. And I just kept doing really whatever kind of videos I wanted to do. I just made sure I wasn't. I kept my process the same. Like if I'm gonna get followers, I'm not gonna beg for them. Like you follow me or you don't. I'm okay with that. I'm gonna put out what I want to put out, and I'm going to try to make sure that I'm not doing something that everybody else is doing. Because if I'm doing something everybody else is doing, it's not as entertaining. So that was the process, and I think like once I made it to the 10,000 mark and the 20,000, I was I really try to keep it private because I'm I guess I'm humble about it, but it's like I'm happy that I have it, but I don't really want a bunch of people checking for me, so I try not to like brag about it in real life. Like, no, I don't think too many people know what I got going on TikTok in like real life.
Okay. Okay. Well, for me, it was kind of the same. Uh, for a long time, I only had like 86 followers. And then one day, me and my friends were fooling around at work, and I had bet her. I'm like, listen, I bet you can't make this bag into the garbage. We shoot the bag and we try to make it in the garbage.
Hmm.
And I just started recording it, and she missed it like 3 times. And come to find out, that video like absolutely blew up. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, yeah. So,
I think for
we
a
have
lot of people that just any little bit of going viral is comes to a surprise. Like sometimes you have people that they shoot a video and they're like, "This video's golden. I got to put this video up," and then somewhere like you weren't even thinking too much about it. Like if you'll have some videos where you're like, oh, I could have put more thought into it, or I could have shot another way, and then it takes off, and you're like, I wasn't expecting that. Like I think
it,
I had one video that where I was doing like a timeline theory. It had something to do with Amelia Earhart. It was like a timeline theory in the earlier days where I was in pajamas cooking breakfast. And if I was like really planning that out, I probably wouldn't have been wearing that or like, not in my kitchen cooking. But yeah, I think
yeah,
that sometimes you just don't expect it.
yeah. Like, and it's funny that you use the word viral because, like, what does that word mean to you? Like going viral.
Well, I not gonna mention them, but funny story. I actually know someone else who has like viral videos on TikTok. We actually grew up in the same neighborhood in Louisiana, and so like I think like from a understanding of like what I understand, it's like viral is at least I feel like it's got to be at least over so many thousand. Like or I think it has to be at least I feel like over 200,000. because I feel like once you get over that, like then the video it will grow on its own. Like without you really, you don't have to send it to nobody. You don't have to share it. I feel like after that, it's caught fire and people are just sending it. Like I have some of those old videos, like I haven't touched them in forever. Like I don't do nothing with them, and I still get like comments and likes. I feel like once it makes it at least past 200,000, it has a life of its own.
Okay. Okay. Um, yeah, because that I asked you that because that's a term that is widely used in this generation. Because I believe we're around the same age. Because back in, like, I feel like I could say this now. Back in my day, it
Yeah.
there was there was no TikTok, there was no Instagram, there was no Facebook. It was basically you go outside and you had a camcorder, and if you decide to record something, you just sit and you bring it back in the house and you put it in the VCR and you show your friends. That was going viral back
Well,
then.
I'm not for sure because, like, okay, I may just be a little bit younger because I'm like back in the day I did have the camera, but then I go in the house and uploaded this to MySpace like when I was younger. But then eventually like Facebook was like high school. This like in and I was on Twitter in high school. So it's
Mhm.
like I really wasn't a part of that Vine time. Like I had a Vine and I didn't like Vine. I probably was the only person that didn't care about Vine. I also did not care about Snapchat. Like I think I started a Vine account and a Snapchat account and like never used them. Like never touched them because I didn't really care for the apps. But I think I kind of grew up with social media in the sense because I think even when I was a kid, like I made my MySpace page in like the fifth grade. I think coming out of the fifth grade, like going towards middle school. So I
Yeah.
think I used to post stuff all the time. And like even my YouTube account, like my YouTube account is ancient now, I think. I had YouTube before Google bought them and made you make a Gmail.
Mm, I
And
did too.
so somewhere on the internet there are old videos to accounts I don't have access to just kid me before it was like before everybody started their video with hey guys, today we're gonna
Yeah. Like, what's up, guys?
yeah, like I used to like before like the all this pre-planned stuff. Like before people
Mhm.
had like thumbnail pictures and this, and you get on there. And I remember when it just started getting big, like everybody was doing
Well, we have a bit of another technical difficulty, I want to say. Um, we're gonna try and get her back in here. But um come all right.
sorry about that. I had my phone on do not disturb, and then my sister, I guess because she couldn't call me, she just tried to video chat me. I'm sorry. What was
Oh,
I
it's all
saying?
right. Um the whole Snapchat era, you didn't have a Vine. Um
No, I think I watched a lot of vines, but I didn't have that. So I don't know. It's kind of like a weird thing. It's like I'm old enough to be a part of stuff, and then but I'm young enough to like s- understand the internet and how like
okay.
understand the internet and things about the internet. So
Yeah.
I'm in like a weird pocket because
Yeah.
like I remember LimeWire instilling like music.
I remember that.
And then I remember
Bear
when you
share.
just like, yeah, listen to music for free online. Like
Hmm.
on YouTube, you just play whatever you want. So it's like,
I
yeah.
remember the first touchscreen phone because I had it.
Uh, what was the first touchscreen phone?
I don't know if it was the first, but it was one of the first, and it was the
Uh-huh.
most popular one that everybody had. It was the Google G1.
Oh, because I'm never sure. I almost was thinking you were talking about like the sidekicks. Like, you had some phone with that sidekick where you could slide them up, but the
Yeah,
screen
this.
was also a touch screen.
Yep.
Yeah,
I think that came later, but the Google G1, it was the same concept. You slide it up, but it had a trackball instead of
like a
touching.
BlackBerry.
Yeah, it was like a
Okay,
BlackBerry and a touchscreen phone mixed together. It
I
was
do remember Blackberries.
it
I
was
thought they were
pretty
the
weird.
coolest phone. You were really official if you had a BlackBerry.
Yeah, like you were exclusive when you give people
Yes,
your
listen,
your
top of the
BBM
line.
code.
Yeah, you were like top business professional.
Yeah. Um, but going back to like any advice you would give to someone starting out, like
Hmm.
social media, like what's something that you would say to somebody that's just like starting out?
Um, I think for somebody just starting out, like the key is to always be yourself. Because you can't be anybody else. It doesn't always come across as authentic if you're not trying to be yourself. But also, like, if you're just starting out, make the content you want to watch. You literally, you can tell people to watch it. You can tell, but there's a difference between like you just putting stuff together and you really love it versus like you feel like you're entertaining. And I think that's when it comes to making content, making videos. If you weren't you and you were watching this, would you find it entertaining? And that helps a lot. Like sometimes I make stuff and I'm like, it's a little bit boring. And I will delete it because you have to push yourself to be better. I know some people, like sometimes you have hidden gems and people tell you, oh, post it, they'll delete it, save it in your drafts. No, no, because you have to, if the goal, if you're trying to make content is to be entertaining or nobody's going to watch it and then you waste your time if that's what you're trying to do. Now, if you're making it just for you and just because you want to put it out, then do it. But if your goal is to build a following, the key to getting followers is to be entertaining or provide information. Either you're teaching or you're being entertaining, or you can do both. But you have to like critique yourself and be honest with it.
Okay, okay. I like that. So we're gonna take a little steer off of the social media talking. Well, I
Hmm.
mean, this kind of ties into social media,
Hmm.
but this is a question that I ask every guest that I have on the show. And the question is it possible for a person to contribute to their own heartbreak?
Is it possible to? Yeah, I guess if the actions that you put out led to your heartbreak, I guess you could cause it yourself. I guess you could. Uh, I suppose. I, I suppose if you were maybe a person that, like, let's say in the moment you didn't think clearly, or you didn't. There's a lot of ways that you could participate in ending a relationship or having a fight or a moment to where you cause heartbreak for yourself based on your actions. So yeah, I think that you can.
Okay. Um, because I asked you that because I've had people on here that uh said that you don't contribute to your own heartbreak. Like it's always the other person's fault. So I just wanted to get some feedback from you about that.
Well,
Um,
I think that's a one-sided thought because when it comes to heartbreak in general, you have to think of the events that caused it. Why are you heartbroken? It wasn't an event. And then what happened in that event? Was it something you said or was it something brought to you? And then you have to break down what were the actions that led up to this event. Now, it very well could be that a situation could be one person, but even if, let's say, it's one person. Like, sometimes they tell people, like, let's go for example that this was a situation where you did nothing wrong. It's the person, right? And the person causes your heartbreak. So you're asking, is there any way that I myself could have led to my own heartbreak? Well, there are always red flags, they say. So let's say you do see a red flag and you think nothing of it. Would you paying more attention to detail saved you from your heartbreak? Sometimes it can, sometimes it can't. I mean, I think there are situations where maybe, maybe you didn't cause that heartbreak. But I think that enough attention to detail and somewhere you can see some way that either you could have stopped something, either you or maybe you did something.
Hmm. Perfect. That's as good as an answer can get, to be honest. And that really does tie into our little mini promotion that I'm about to do right here.
Okay.
And tomorrow nights, we will be having quite the panel on Ghosted Chapter 2. For those who don't know, Chapter 1 came out a few weeks ago with my co host Pooh, where we told stories about where we either ghosted someone in a relationship or we've been ghosted and how it affected us and how would we do it again or would we not do it again. But you guys liked it so much that we had to bring Chapter 2. And we got a lot of different voices and a lot of different opinions, and you're gonna enjoy that. So while some of you are watching SummerSlam tomorrow night, some of you I hope you will be watching Ghosted Chapter 2 on No Cap Podcast, 8 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night. But um when it comes to like your creating process, like
Uh-huh.
how walk me through your thinking. Like, how do you go from the thought to posting the video?
I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I jump right into it, but also there are times where sometimes I sit down and I like map it out. Whether I map it out mentally or I map it out like written wise, there are like lots of situations. Like for example, for my little core line theory, I actually sat down and mapped that out as I was thinking it. I'm like, okay, I gotta break down some points for when I'm going to do all this talking. Or even in my dream theory, I had to do in my dream theory series. I actually had to do dream research to and like test it out to make sure. So I'm like, so for some things, it does take a little bit of research, a little bit of mapping out, and then you can go to shoot it. For others, like sometimes I get a thought and then I jump into it, but I won't say I always put everything out right away. Sometimes I wait because, like, when I rush to shoot something, like a little impromptu, I'll give it like a day and I'll go back and watch it and make sure, like, if it's a thought or it makes sense. Because I think sometimes, for me at least, and get to talking, I might lose track. I might be a little ADHD and like lose track of the subject and then circle back around and I'm like, okay, I got to be straight to the point of what I'm talking about. So I like to sometimes map it out before I actually do it.
Okay. Yeah. Mapping out and I mean, I feel like they both work with the same. You're gonna get some of the same results,
Hmm.
whether you plan it or whether you just jump right into it. I'm gonna be honest, most of my videos I've never planned. I'll just be on TikTok. Oh, I like that sound, and I'll make a video to the sound, and that's it.
I mean, I
Um,
can't say I've never done that. So I think everybody's done it at least once. But I think for my like the theories and stuff, or like the skits, or like that sometimes I do map those out.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, those, and clearly they're very good when you map them out. So, like I watched them, so
Thank you.
and thousands of other people watched them as well. So it is it's good. It's really good. Now, speaking of theories,
Mm,
you know I was probably going to bring it to some. I don't think people caught it when I brought it up the first time. So apparently, everybody, she is the daughter of Pharrell and Ashanti. So
mhm.
go ahead, explain that.
That video came about, and it's actually like currently it caught a second wind. Let me just start by saying that this year, that video I shot a year ago somehow reemerged and is doing crazy numbers right now. And how it came about is there was this girl who came out who said that she was the and R. Kelly. And I it was a trend that was happening where all these other people celebrities are saying, "Oh, I'm," and they would say how they're related to the person. So, like for example, I seen this guy. He could have been T Pain's brother, but he was like, "Me too, girl," and I'm T Pain's brother. And so it was all these people who were stitching her videos saying that they were related to somebody, and it was like sarcasm. It was like, "Oh yeah, me too," and so I'm like, I shot a video saying that I was Pharrell and Ashanti's daughter, and it just blew up. It was always meant to be like funny, like the rest of the people that was doing that trend. But I don't think I think people went with it because I still get people to this day that will be like, "You laugh like Ashanti," and I'll or people will say like, "Yeah, you." I can see the resemblance between you and Pharrell, and then I have some people where I get like hate, like man, like, and not a day goes by where they'll be like, "You look older than Pharrell," and so um I'm not gonna lie. At one point in time, I was like, I gotta put this video to an end because most of my notifications are that still right now, at least that same video, and I did not expect for it to take off. And it depends on the day. Some days people are laughing with me. Some days people are not happy about it. Like I just had a lady comment, leave Ashanti alone. And I don't know if people get the joke or not. I think some people do, but I think that a year later, the joke just a year later, I don't think the joke sits as well as it did when it was a trend. And I don't know if the trend was ever big enough for people to realize like that was a trend that was happening. Because if you go to that video or you go to that creator and you see the stitches to their video, it was other people doing it. I just think mine's ended up being one of the bigger stitches.
Okay, all right. That's yeah, because that was actually how I found you through that video, and it it had me believing like
And you know what? I don't even really think that I look like Pharrell. For real, I had people telling me that on TikTok, like in my earlier days. I just picked Ashanti because I feel like we were closer in skin tone, and it made sense for the looks. Because everybody I seen Stitch in the videos, they look like the people they were saying, "Oh, I'm related to this person." Like I kid you not, if you ever look at those stitches and find that guy that said he was T Pain's brother, they could have been this. They look very much alike. So I was like, oh, who can I resemble more? And I'm like, okay, Ashanti, dark hair, same skin tone. We both have thinner eyebrows. It works out. That's what I was thinking.
so let's take that a little further.
Hmm.
So have people ever tagged Ashanti or Pharrell
Oh
in the
my,
comments?
listen, if I had a dollar, there have been people who tag both of them. That's not my, and I kid you not, that's not my most tagged video. But there are people that do tag Ashanti Front, and I don't think they're ever really gonna respond because they I feel like if it's for real and it's just me, he seems very chill. I feel like he would get the joke. Ashanti, I
Mm.
feel like she would probably never watch it and doesn't really care. I don't feel like she's as heavily in social media either, or at least I don't. She doesn't pop up for me a lot, so I'm like. I don't think they'll ever really respond. Or if they did, I feel like I'd hope that they see it. It was sarcasm.
Now, that, cause yeah, that was what I was about to ask you. Like, what would you do if you just wake up one morning and Ashanti's in your inbox? Like, are you really my daughter? Like,
No, I don't think so. Like, I don't think they'll ever hit me up about that. Or if they do, like, I hope it made them laugh. Like, I hope that they laughed and it wasn't upset or
like,
anything.
like, imagine. I can just imagine. Like, they message you like, listen, I need you to act as my daughter for a publicity stunt or something. Like, I don't know.
It would be
Would you
funny.
do it?
Yeah, I think I would. I mean, I like Ashanti. I like Pharrell. I don't really have anything against either. Both of them got hits, so I had nothing negative to say about either one of them. If they ever did ask, I would be like, yeah, for sure. It'd be like a little
That
moment in time, a good
that
little
that
memory.
that would definitely be interesting to be honest. But we're gonna go to the final thought here.
Hmm.
And basically what this is, we both say something to give the audience encouragement or something that you just want to share. This is your time to share anything, any upcoming projects that you have coming up, or whatever you want to say, really, to be honest. But uh, go ahead.
I guess words of encouragement is, the world is always looking for, I think, authenticity. So if you have a story to tell, that's your story or a story that you're creating, I say tell it. I feel like if you have something lighthearted to put out in the world, it doesn't really matter what too many people say. I think do it. If you want to start doing something, the hardest thing to do is to start. But once you do, nothing can really stop you. You got to build up the courage at first. So even if it's making content or helping educate people, they're just looking for people who are real people. You don't got to act like a superstar, okay? But you put yourself out there, and I'm for sure you'll become one.
That was real, true spoken words. And for me, I'm gonna say, actually, I know exactly what I'm saying. A lot of people lately, from my job, people that I know, they have asked me about like, what does it take to start a podcast? Honestly, it just takes your process. Just do it. That's the best advice I can give you. Like, you're not gonna have 1,400 million viewers all at once on day one. You gotta start and build your fan base. You just have to believe in yourself. Just keep going. Go on TikTok, jump in people's lives, ask them if they want to be on your podcast. The worst they could say is no. And I'm a product of that. So, yeah. But I want to thank you for this is the first time you came on this podcast. I feel like you've been on this podcast before.
Yeah, I did once before. That was the first time I told you about the Warren Off. And there was another girl on here. She was a singer. You remember her? She had curly hair. She was a pretty girl. Forget. It was like it's been a while. It's been months. I will say,
Yeah,
like
I
it's been
gotta check
months,
the
but
archives.
it was a while back. But
Yeah. Um, but so technically, this is your, if you want to
second,
count the technical difficulties, this is your fourth time, I want to
okay, fourth
say.
time.
Fourth time. So, but thank you once again for joining me on this podcast and keep making the content that you make. Uh, keep believing in yourself. Don't let nobody stop you. And if you have any more projects that you're going to be working on, We all would love to see them.
Mhm.
And with that being said, we're out of here.